The Abaco Islands, Bahamas, Culminating Task, Part 2. The Abaco Islands are a group of islands and barrier cays in the northern Bahamas, east of southern Florida. These islands include the main islands of Great Abaco and Little Abaco, along with smaller barrier cays. The Abaco Islands consist of limestone with some elevation, and they are protected on the side facing the ocean by the third largest barrier reef in the entire world. Most of these islands are uninhabited, as the wildlife and conditions inhabiting them can be very dangerous to the human population. The Abaco Islands were first inhabited by the Lucayans, but were later invaded by their first European settlers in 1783 by loyalists fleeing the American Revolution. The Abaco Islands altogether have an area of 2,009 kilometers squared. Each island is relatively small, and some are even considered to be miniature. Hurricane Dorian hit the Abaco Islands of the Bahamas very recently. This colossal hurricane completely tore apart many of the islands and left pure destruction in its path. Hurricane Dorian stalled over the Abacos and nearby Grand Bahama, pummeling the island for 24 hours with its 185-mile-per-hour winds. Great Abaco was said to have been nearly obliterated. Buildings were torn apart as if they were Christmas presents. Trees were stripped bare. It was estimated that 90% of the Abaco Island structures were destroyed. All throughout Great Abaco Island, on the ground, it was an endless wasteland stripped of street signs, landmarks, and buildings. Hurricane Dorian hit Great Abaco Island, Bahamas, on August 24, 2019. It mostly hit the central islands of Abaco and most definitely hit Great Abaco Island the hardest. The island was completely ruined, and the rehabilitation is supposedly estimated to take years. It is believed that the Abaco Islands were hit by Hurricane Dorian due to the fact that these islands were the least elevated of all of the islands in the Bahamas. Due to the fact that the islands were so close to the water, the hurricane affected them the most. The water levels rose much more quickly, and the islands on the whole were colossally affected. Although the population of the Abaco Islands is quite low, there were many people living on Great Abaco Island, and this was the island that was hit the hardest. Many people lost their home, their lives, and their everything. Due to the fact that the Abaco Islands are elevated at an extremely low level than most other islands in the Bahamas, flooding has also been a colossal problem for them over the years. Those living near the edges of the island would consistently have to deal with severe flooding if it ever rained. This is a trend because of the fact that it has happened over the years. We see that even though this was a huge cause of Hurricane Dorian's severity, it has also been a big problem throughout the years for those living on the Abaco Islands, especially Great Abaco Island. There are some protections now in place in the Bahamas for these islands that were so suddenly and severely hit. Although nothing can be done about the overall elevation of these islands, the government is attempting to help locals by providing them with supplies. Almost all of the people who are hit by Hurricane Dorian are being taken care of in some sort of way. The people are being protected relatively well, and the injured were flown to high-end hospitals for immediate treatment. Although I do believe that this is a good start for protecting those living on the Abaco Islands, I most definitely believe that there is more that could be done to protect these innocent people. In my opinion, I believe that there is a very simple solution to the problems in Abaco, Bahamas. My solution is that the government should come in and not only fix up all that has been broken, but rebuild above ground homes. This solution will help locals and those living on the islands due to the fact that it will stop the flooding that the hurricane caused. Due to the fact that there obviously cannot be a blockade to stop all the flooding, I believe that this is a good solution because it stops a mass amount of damage to locals that flooding causes, whether that be through hurricanes or just plain rain. This solution will also be beneficial for tourists because it will not affect them negatively or positively. There will still be the same amount of tourists flooding in, and maybe even more, due to the fact that they will now know that they will be safe from the dangers of flooding. Tourists want to travel to places where they feel safe and have above-ground housing, and a place that is susceptible to flooding would be a huge relief. For my plan to work, specific limitations also must be set. Locals should not be allowed to choose their housing situations. I believe that the government should enforce the building of above ground houses so that everyone will be protected if something happens. Locals should not be able to make decisions that could potentially harm them and the environment on the whole later in time. That's all. Thank you for listening to my culminating task part 2.